Everybody, welcome back to another episode of our Mystical Wellness podcast. Today we are getting into high strangeness, and who better than to support me is my co-host Breakaway Ray, host of STARCARD-PODCAST, fantastic educator, and all things breakaway. And our guests today, we have Jim and Matt, father and son team from Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot, documenting real life encounters with Bigfoot and the unexplained in the Appalachian wilderness, with experiences spanning decade. Their work explores Bigfoot activity, interspecies communication, and deeper intelligence of the land. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I hope you're all okay and can hear me. I'm going to hand over to Ray. Ray, please get us started.
Thank you, Julia. It's great to be here. Thanks to the Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot guys for this opportunity. I'm so excited to talk to you. So I understand that you are able to connect to Gaia, Mother Earth.
Yep.
Well, now that we're recording, maybe Gaia wants to send a message to people who are going to be watching this broadcast. Is there a message from Gaia she'd like to start off with?
Yep. Stay centered in your home family and keep your heart for your families. It doesn't have to be blood, just anything that's around you that can help you. So anything you can help those around you, that'll help others to help you along. Just keep on helping each other. So keep on loving and keep on doing the good work for others if you can. You see a way, do the way.
Thank you, Gaia. Thank you for that message. So it sounds like we all need to hold hands and work together.
Yes. We're all in it together, you know.
That's
we got
right.
friends beside us, whether we know it or not.
That's right. All right. So I have another question for Gaia. Does she have any concerns? What is one of her greatest concerns right now?
Greatest concern she'll have will be, well, it's a big topic, she's saying. But the children not playing. If the children ain't going outside, then what's there for the future? You know, the greatest concern is the children, the innocence, the young. If the innocence ain't protected, then what we got? We ain't got nothing. Protect the innocence all around you, no matter how small or how big.
Yeah, that's really interesting because my son is 16 and he's a gamer. So the last 10 years, he's basically been indoors on his PlayStation, gaming away, which is great for, zombie apocalypse. Not so much just for general life skills or whatever. Yeah. So I did ask him that question. If there was a zombie apocalypse, could you defend us? And he's like, yeah, I could, But yeah, she's right, definitely.
That's a pretty heavy concern, all right. I agree. The kids are not going out to play. Their innocence is being corrupted by the devices that are in their hands. I remarked, this is like an anecdote from me, like 15, 20 years ago when these devices were being used more and more by families as well as in the classroom. I remarked to myself that I bet a lot of parents feel like they're geniuses. They sent their kids up to their room with their tablet and they haven't heard from them in 4 hours. I must be a genius. My kid's quiet. But no, it's the exact opposite. They need to go out and play. They need to explore. They need to experiment. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff being pumped in on those devices. Thanks for channeling that message. So I saw that we have a concern for the children. My next question was concern for humans. But I think that the concern for the children part covers that part. Would you agree, gentlemen?
Yeah, it's the innocence. She's even showing the insects, just taking care of every little thing. It doesn't have to be children. It could be just children of animal species and anything. Just everything and everything, innocence. Protect the innocence.
All right.
But yeah.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So I wonder if Gaia would be interested in rating our performance, like on a scale of 0 to 10. How do humans do with nature? I mean, it's okay to consider the whole globe. How are we doing as a species in communication and working with nature on a scale of 0 to 10?
We could be at an easy 8, she's saying. Could be.
We could be,
We're at
but we're not.
we're at like a 5.
Okay. Is
Or
there something
she's trying to
blocking
give
us?
us hope.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
She says she's trying to give us hope, to try to average us a little high, because she loves her little children to do good, because there's nothing wrong with technology as long as you use it in a good way. You know, however, it's good to have gas inside the house, natural gas and such. It's fine to have electricity, you know. Ain't nothing wrong with that to cook your food and make life easier. So we're at about a scale of 5. We might be actually like a 3 or a 4 in certain areas of the country, but on around the earth average, we're at about a 5 to 6. Because even Philippines and other countries and stuff like that, they're actually doing really good at working the soil and helping the children to, work, not about working, about living. It's not work, it's not effort, it's flow of energy. What you give is what you receive. And people getting caught up in a box, in a home somewhere and or school in a concrete building, you're not really flowing the energy, you're absorbing energy because you're getting fed information instead of putting out information. Like what happens when I plant a seed and what happens when I add too much water. Statistics like that kind of helps the mind perspective grow faster than being told everything, if that helps any. Nothing
You
wrong
mentioned the
being
country
told.
of, yeah.
Go ahead.
These are golden words of wisdom, by the way, that you're sharing with us. I can't wait to watch this video. But you mentioned the country of the Philippines. Would Gaia like to recommend some countries that we should look to as models for for that kind of thing, integrating with nature and taking care of the youth and the children of all species?
She's saying that if she was going to go that way, it might be like Malaysia was the first thing that came in my mind, but really it's like the Bigfoot she's showing. Our
Oh,
brothers is what they're supposedly kind of are. They're our closest relatives, is what she's saying, to our sides, because she sees them able to handle the winters and such like that very easily. Us, we can't really handle the winters. Nothing wrong with that. We just don't got that much hair. I mean, it could be just genetics, which is not a problem. Just we got to figure out ways to cope with nature, if that makes sense. So, Malaysia, um, it's really, Cuba, but they've gone through some. She's saying there's too much politics and such that's in between to pick out certain countries because the
okay.
politics is what's hurting. All right, in this time of era.
Yeah, thank you very much. You mentioned the Bigfoots. I'd like to bring in the mer people also. How are we doing as a human species in relating with the mer people? Am I correct in assuming that, our species have been separate on purpose and for a reason, and that's okay? Or have we been integrating and working together, and how are we doing if that's the case?
Yeah. See, we used to been on a water world. And this whole Earth used to been a water world, you know, and the mermaids were the ones, the human types that transfer into having web feet, web arms, and fingers, as I mean, web legs, full, mermaids, such like that. Um, but the humans, we stayed strong and tried to stay afloat. We kept our fingertips. We our kept working our muscles, keep them spread out, even in the waters, instead of turning webby. We tend to try to, it's just how we kept ourselves. The spirit would prevail through the physical in any way as possible, and the physical will abide by the spirit's will. And we were strong in that time period to keep our spirit, our physical body from evolving into mermaids, which is nothing wrong with being a mermaid. But then when physical land came about, the mermaids, and during that time period, they were jealous of the humans because they were able to walk on land. One thing that the mermaids used to thought was impossible. They didn't expect that to happen. So now people are walking on land, and they finally got to a point where they're finally like appreciative of like they have the experience life for the waters and able to transmute and fix things under the oceans and such. So they are able to work in the waterways and the physical, the humans and such like that are able to walk on land and they're able to transmute things on the physical land. So everything is coming together without a plan, Gaia saying. Everything comes together without a plan because the spirit will prevail in the best way and form it can do into this physical world. She wants to say that's the way to answer it.
That's
Yeah, and
beautiful.
I was going to add to what his comment was, but they didn't think that we were ever going to have land again, and so they kind of went in that direction. The Mer people did, and so there is some jealousy and some opposition that we're always going to be working through problems. But so I mean, we were a water world for a long, long, long time, and I think that's amazing. That's not well pointed out by most, but anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, just talking about evolution a little bit, because you give a little different kind of a story than the one that I used to teach in school. It sounds like humans were all part of a water world, and then as land, arose on Earth, um, the species diverged, and one stayed in the water and one went on land.
Yeah.
Now, is it true that the Mer people are more in contact cosmologically with beings off planet than we people are on the surface?
She's shown me, or yeah, she's shown me that yes, they're closer to the outer planetaries in comparison to the interplanetaries. The interplanetaries are more hard, um, rocky, more physical, more thick, more heavy, more dense. The outer planets are more loose, thin, gassy, watery. They're more connected to those areas because they could breathe those elements technically in a type of format where they can kind of have a duality of working together. In comparison to us physical, we work better with Venus and Mars. Used to be in the asteroid belt and Mercury. We work better with the hard surfaces, but some of us humans, we're actually, when she's showing, we could do the waterways. We've done it before, so we not as well with the mermaids though, if that makes sense. They could go through and work with them a whole lot easier. I think
So
that's
when we're talking about the Mer people working with the outer planets, this would all be through telepathy or astrally? They don't have technology, do they? I mean, to take them to the other planets?
um. There's several ways to go about it. She's showing me, and it's you can call it energetic, but she's also not putting a defining point on what energetic really defines to be. It could be a ship because you energetically built a ship to fly through the outer space and then make it to the planet Earth. So she's really open when she's saying energetically.
Can she
Um,
tell us anything about the underwater stargates or the underwater crystal pyramids? Do the merfolk have access to those?
yep. Um, it's for okay. She's not putting a number on it. There's about more than 8 or something like that. But yes, there is plenty of stargates in underwater and above, on land and in the air. There's those 3 layers of stargates that she's showing me. So yes.
Hold on. Air Not heard
Go
of
ahead,
that
Julia.
before. So what kind of information is there about suspended in the air stargates? Is this like a temporary portal, or is this a permanent fixture in the atmosphere?
Self-created, she's showing. Um, everything revolves around the spirit. And where does the spirit where does the spirit come from? It comes from within each individual. So the spirit's able to create each stargate. So technically, you create the stargates to where your ancestors are from energetically. Well, my wire's not touching up there. Sorry.
Oh, so we're getting contact here.
Okay.
So yeah, so I mean, when
Go
I think
ahead.
of stargates or portals in the sky, I think of like dragon made. So as if dragons are flying through different realms and they create a portal. Is that the kind of thing do you reckon she's talking about?
Um, it was getting harder to hear you because my speaker's going down as well.
I'm turning it up.
He's turning it up, but what was you said?
I was
Sorry
I
about
was
that.
asking about when I think about stargates in the air, portals, I think about dragons creating those and flying through. So it's that dragon made technology.
By their
So
spirit. Yes.
yeah,
They
because
created it
I'm
through
from
their
a
spirit.
my soul is an original dragon, so I'm from like the primordial void, yeah, as a golden dragon. So yeah, so everything that for me always comes back to dragons and stargates basically, because I love all that. Yeah.
I got
That's how it works.
let me add two notes to you because I'm taking notes. I'm gonna be like Julie. I'm popping in and out too. Uh, Birds make their own portals. You wonder how does these flock of birds go from California to wherever, right? I mean, they
Yes.
get into their pattern and they're like chicka 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 chicka, and they go by you, and
Yes.
they're just there you go in that focus, and they birds make portals.
Because
That's
it
how they
never
get.
made sense to me, the migration over such long distances. That never made any sense. But if you add a couple of portals in the mix, yes, that makes sense, right?
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. From their
Yeah.
spirit, they make portals. And another point I want to make:
Energetic. That's
energetic.
what she was talking about earlier.
Yep,
Okay.
Energetic.
energetic, and they are focused, and now they're in Florida, right? That's cool stuff. I need to learn how to fly like that too. And the other point, the other note I wanted to make was you're talking about the mer people, and I wanted to say that I think it's clear. Talk about Scott.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well Scott's one of the Bigfoots that Matt's old buddy from ever and ever. But anyway,
Mhm.
Scott is working with the mer people right now because of the waterways. And one thing he's had to do, and our Bigfoots here are not really ET popular. They don't really work much with the ETs, but Scott is actually working with some of the ETs and has been on their ships and and it is because he needs their help with some of the technology to help some of the mer because some of the waterways. And so that's going on right now. Just something to kind of show you how some of this stuff is working out as far as what's going on with the mer people. They are getting assistance as far as the waters because I mean that's their. I remember in a while back we used to talk about the Mississippi. They were having to go up the Mississippi and do some work, because of what if they get to the pollution points before it gets to the ocean. That's a big saver. So there's a lot of work going on in the waters, and if the Bigfoots are out working with the mer, that just kind of shows you the importance of the waterways, and that's what's going on right now.
Yes.
Do you think that, like with the movies Aquaman, and it's very clear there's a divide between the land and the water people. Do you think the merfolk are actually going to come and take a stand and say, we want to be on your councils or whatever, we want to call an assembly? Do you think that's ever going to happen?
Um, they're under. You're talking about Aquaman, right? The
Mm,
underground. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There's that is their civilization, and they work in their civilization. Us men, physical, we work on our physical land, and that's our civilization. And we work on our civilizations. And the air, they work on their civilizations, and whatever is in the air, they work with each other. There's a divide within the three because it's a physical difference, is what she was showing me. And could we cross paths? Yes, we've seen mermaids in the waters and such. We've seen um, Mothman, just flying creatures, big things going on in the airs. They work there, and we got our civilization on the physical plane, and we don't even work with our brother, our Bigfoot's type of deal. I mean,
yeah.
she's calling our brothers, but just the idea concept is what she's trying to prevail because there is some troubled brothers out there, right? So they might trouble others. And that's just how it is. But yeah.
Yeah, because from the crossover point of view, the super soldier programs have crossed into undersea programs. And we do have bases under the sea. We've got entire domes, training facilities, dolphin, partnered scenarios and stuff like that. People talk about Project Seagate and how the merfolk are not happy about a big portion of the undersea realms being used for super soldier programs. So I don't know, like how if they're going to object to that at some point or if they're just avoiding it. What kind of information do you get on that?
There's two types of physical things going on with the pole shift. There's a civilization on the physical form of us humans type that's trying to create a physical form on the earth to pole shift from the North Pole to the South Pole. They're trying to physically do it because they think that's the way it works. But Gaia's showing me the pole shift is not a physical North and South Pole flipping. It's the physical North-South pole of the human body flipping, the reversing of the mind and the transmuting of the old to the good ways. The old bad ways get swept away, and all the old good ways gets used ahead of us, and that's the pole shift type of deal.
And I had took a note on that before you said it, and I just have one point to it because you covered it exactly. And that's what I want to say is the positive, negative. Even us people, as we go from the positive, the rich being the rulers and the poor being, that's a pole shift, polar for us as far as our thoughts. And then us seeing new civilizations that appear from the North Pole or the South Pole, that's going to be a pole shift. And I'm like, Matt, I think it's really cool. I didn't realize that till recently, but it's not, in my mind, I think pole shift, the Earth's going to flip. But no, we're talking polar slip in thought, polar flip in what civilizations we might be introduced to. So,
hmm and the civilization that's underwater, the physical men on Earth, they're building their submarines and going down, and that's what they're doing. They're physically trying to create the pole shift. So you're watching out for those type of submarines, which there's other reasons for the submarines that, of course, a lot of people don't um, talk about because even the men on the submarines don't talk about or even notice because they got on one side of the submarine, but on the other side, on the outside, they're communicating what they don't even know what they're communicating to. And that's the other ET, the mermaid races down under. You can't see out of a steel box, you can't put glass on the outside of a steel box that deep of the ocean without it imploding. So it's one of those things. They're trying to create a pole shift, but they're communicating with the MERS down below, and they are transmuting things and trying to. Some are trying to do good without having to create chaos. So it's like one of those ordeals where you got certain type of people in your government heads and or above your government heads actually. You gotta watch out for those elected people or those not elected, but those self-elected, you know, however you want to call it. But yeah, those people. Pray for them in a good way.
And all the stuff you're saying is really precious. I can't wait to watch the video again. I never thought of the pole shift as being a spiritual thing. It's always been emphasized as a geomagnetic physical thing. So thanks for opening that up for me. So we've talked about Bigfoots and mer people and humans. There's an experiencer, a testimonial out there that says that there's like 5 main species on Earth. And I wonder if you would be able to tell us if that's true. Are there like 5 main species? The Draco, the humans, the mer people, maybe the Bigfoots. Is there somebody else?
I love how you guys define species and race as well. Can you do that?
Um, a race is able to manage themselves. A species gets managed by the race.
Oh,
Um, so like a chicken, a domesticated dog, domesticated chicken, domesticated turkeys. Um, they get used by the race. They have to be taken care of because they can't go out in nature and thrive by themselves. Now, a wild deer is a wild deer. He's able to take care of himself. They're almost they're almost species because they can't always protect themselves from coyotes and such like that. They don't. Not saying the older deers can't, but it's that type of concept. That's the difference between race and species, the physical forms, if that makes sense. But let's see. The amount of You're asking, Ray, the amount of races we have on Earth?
So I was clued that there might be like five main races, and if they all agree and they all consent, they can all participate in some kind of technology that transforms Earth somehow. I'm wondering if you have any information about the five main species on Earth.
You missed one, Fae, I think. Fairies.
Ah,
They're very strong in their powers. For as little they are, they can. I'm calling even the goblins, the elves, Fae. They laughing at me, or not laughing. They're like, "Hey, man," with the energetic energy of them. Like, I ain't no Fae. Those
I
the smaller ones that we don't always see that slips through dimensions all the time. They're the
yeah.
ones that is the fifth one
So
that I could
all
I've
tell.
been
right.
in I
The
was in witches
Draco, I got a
school.
question about though.
I was in witches school for a long time, and whenever we call in the quarters and it come to the north, it would always be for me to call in the gnomes. And I'm like, is this because I'm only 5'1" that I keep getting this connection to the gnomes? And she's like, no, of course it isn't. But I think it is because I'm very fey. So yeah, I'm 12th the day Danan, so it's like I get all the small elementals. Yeah.
That
That is funny.
That's fun.
Did you
But
have a
say
question
about the
about the
planet.
Draco?
Yeah, I do have the question about the Draco about being that they are a race. Well, technically, I don't know. Something about the Draco makes me feel like they're more of a alligator, more of a
Reptile mind.
rep, just a physical species type of deal. I
I
don't
know
know if
I
they
know there's
got full
many different
control.
types of reptilian. Isn't there, Ray? You probably know more about it than I do because you studied John Whitberg's work a bit more and than me,
So
but
I know there's lots of different kinds of reptilians and even lots of
mm,
different kinds of Draco. I think that some of the lower ranking Draco are manipulated by black goo or artificial intelligence. And I know that there's some white Draco. They're 14 or 15 feet tall. They have tails. Not all of them have tails. Not all of them have wings. But I was just curious about the Draco that are here on Earth.
I've had an
Oh.
encounter with a red Draco. It was channeled through a friend. It was actually an altar. So I've had a conversation with a red Draco. Before that, I'd never even thought it was a thing. So, but I had a real conversation. They were very well spoken as well.
Wow.
That's interesting. You said red Draco. Now, it's when you talk to a Draco, be sure you talk to the queen or the king because the other Dracos can't think. They
Right.
take orders. That's why I'm seeing them as kind of like a species because there's a certain disconnect of understanding about them because they're just following orders within them of physical or something like that. They're lower mindseted species, just gonna go for it, right? But when you want, if anyone's talking to a Draco or something like that, I don't know if they're good or bad. I ain't going to judge them. Guy's not showing me to judge them as in good or bad because there's nothing good or bad. It's just the way things are by the time we are here in this time. But you got to try to talk to a queen or a king, the Draco that is the leader of them. Talk to the leader of the Dracos. Go to the source of them. Find their connection of who they're talking to. If you don't like the Draco that's revealed to you, find their connection of who is their master. Find their master. Like where do they come from? Because then you could um get justice for what the Draco done to you or however. But you gotta go to the leader, if that makes
Would
sense.
would you say it's the same with the mantids? With the mantis? Because I have had an encounter with a mantis queen, and I'm not joking, 30, 40 feet tall. Very, like, I was tiny and she was massive. So yeah, but I generally get mantids come around me, and I was quite happy at first, thinking, great, they're healers, this would be wonderful. But no, it was black mantis who are like a military government type one being used in the American governments. Very nefarious, really bad. I had to get a friend to help me, and then we ended up encountering the Queen, and she was fine actually. Scary, very scary, but yeah. I don't know. Have you
Yeah,
guys encountered the mantids?
I have uh seen the mantises. I haven't talked to the mantises because same thing with the Draco thought during that time period. I didn't even know till now, that you got to talk to the queen. If I talked to the queen of the mantis that I was looking at, then maybe I've been able to have a good connection with the mantis. I didn't know that there's a divide. It's very interesting for my own self. Like that's what I see. So it's the same thing with the mantis beings too. Um, Maybe not all of them. Some of them are able to get off the queen's nipple type of deal in terms.
I think there's lots of different factions of them, isn't there? So there'll be some that are not kind of that hive mind, some that will be different races or whatever. I don't know, but I actually I've been told that I have incarnated as a Draco, and the guards that I have around me now, which some people can see, I've got Draco guards around me, have been assigned to me by a version of me that's quite high up in that empire. So I don't know if that's true. Other people have seen it. I haven't, but I think we've all incarnated in lots of different areas to support ourselves at this time. Yeah, so
From
anyway.
what I see, you got they want to show you as that there are your ancestors, just to
Okay.
give you a mindset of who in this physical world to who they are. They're
Yeah.
just your ma, your pa, your great grandfather, great
That's
grandma.
comforting. Yeah. So I generally get a lot of diplomatic protection. So I have like Naga diplomatic guides around me as well, and Zeta, and yeah. So they're just, it's crowded in here, shall we say. But I can't see them like you guys can. I just know it feels overbearing at times. Yeah.
Hey,
So,
hey, Julie. Hey, Julie. I like what Chloe her reading for you the other
oh
day.
yes, that was
Could keep
interesting.
researching yourself, keep finding out who you are. So, I mean, that was
Yeah.
pretty cool because I know that that's kind of your mission. I could tell because you're
This
like,
whole
what is
year.
going on? Where am I going? And what has happened? And why am I doing what I'm doing? And
Yeah,
so,
since 2020, October 2024, things started to get into perspective. And then as 2025 rolled in, it's just been rapid recall coming in all year to the point now we're on the 30th of December, and I've discovered so much. It's overwhelming. And there's a lot of stuff that I've been trying to debunk information that's come at me, and I just can't. I can't debunk it. I've been trying. I really have. Yeah, so but yeah, I'm hoping to do something with Chloe soon. Yeah, because we just keep kind of missing each other, but we will next year. She's amazing.
yeah, I was going
Yeah.
to say that I was going to say you and Ray both are taking sledgehammers to the veil. The
Oh
small
yes.
truths.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yes, you guys are
Yeah.
you guys are with your small truths and your positive energy. You
Yeah.
guys are chipping away at this veil in front of people's eyes, and so great job, guys. That's another
I
exciting reason
Thank
why
you.
we wanted to talk to you two specifically because you two
yeah.
are taking the sledgehammer to that veil, and people are starting to see and wake up and change directions. So awesome, guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Thank
debrief
you.
between all of us, I think, that we've come out with in 2025. A lot of debrief for everyone. So it's been really, really good. Ray, did you want to talk about the Martians? Because I know you guys were talking with Major Kevin, and he was doing some work on the pole shift as well. Is that right?
Well,
This
I would like to ask one more question of Gaia before we go
Hmm.
to planet Mars, if that's okay. So I'm under the impression that our sun and maybe our position in the galaxy has changed during the last 50 years. I think that we used to have a yellow sun and it seems like it's a white sun now. And I even heard that our whole position in the Sagittarius arm may have changed. And I'm just wondering if there's any way Gaia can confirm or deny any of that, please.
All right. She wants to start with saying that the Earth is not flat, nor the Earth is not round, but both topics are true. It's a blend duality with that. Um, and then you have the sun. He's the blind archer, um,
Led Zeppelin.
blind warrior.
Oh,
Um, he's the one that shoots out the arrows, which is the solar winds. If you look at it, It's kind of interesting. I looked at it one day, and after having that message, and look, lo and behold, when a solar wind goes, it got a full-on bow arch, and then in the dead center, a full arrow shooting out.
Wow.
And yeah, he's a blind warrior, blind archer. Um,
Led Zeppelin, Battle of Evermore, if you want to see the lyrics.
yep, that
Very
adds
good.
to it. Oh, that's Scorpion King, but yes, that's part of it. Exactly. Okay. And what the blind archer is controlled by, he's definitely controlled by spirit. He's not physically looking to hit that planet or hit that planet. No, his eyes are closed, and he just shoots where he knows the aim and hits as hard as it spirit calls him to hit. So Earth has has not been hit as hard as Venus, Mercury, and um, what's that? Mars. My bad. And Mars. And Maldex got is the asteroid belt. I call that Maldex, but I think it's Asgard or something like that.
Yeah.
My nose touched the mic. It scared me. Sorry. So um Asgard, the
Yeah,
asteroid belt got messed up by some other outer force, not the solar winds. To give you an idea of what the solar winds does to a planet, it's not the asteroid belt. It's more of what the Mars got hit with, more like what Venus got hit with. But that came from the spirit within Mars and Venus not to prevail against the solar winds because the races that was on those planets, they were intervening in a bad way onto the soil and not taking care of the innocents as they should. So less heart, less love from the races, then less strength that the Earth will produce, that Mars or Venus will produce. So they weaken their magnetic fields, is what scientific terms she's saying, is what those are, what that term was. And give you an idea, that weakened, and then they got hit by the solar winds at the wrong time when Spirit called to go ahead and slow down that growth. Pause that growth for now till we get Earth settled in to raise innocence with love and protection. You know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got 3 points on what you just said. Just three add-ins. For one, on the sun, when they shoot it, when he shoots an arrow, it might miss the sun. I mean, it might miss the sun, but it comes back. All arrows that he releases comes back.
They come back.
You can get boomerang. We can get boomerang from the other side of
The
Earth.
back side of Earth.
So a lot of people don't know that, but everything it stays in our galaxy, it will come back. Those arrows that he shoots out into galaxy comes back. So you never hear about that, but anyway, that's true. And then there are two parts I want to talk about. It's Maldek. Maldek is the term, I think we got it from Audrey, which is either Audrey or our other buddies that do the Bigfoot.
Oh,
Chris and them. But Maldek means ours. And that was basically, was it the reptilians or whoever it was? Dracos or whatever. They had claimed it, and that's why the word Maldek, but the actual name is Asgard. And then the last thing is the planets. Mars, Venus are like seeds. Earth, Gaia, was the one that chose to go the hard route. She could have said, forget it. I don't need no life on me. I'm done. And she didn't choose that. Now, if she can finalize and make this work, then Venus and Mars, they might come back to life. It's up to those planets. But Gaia is kind of the one setting the pace for these other planets, whether these other planets will ever be alive again. So that's fascinating. So I just want to cover those 3 points.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, thank you. So I guess we're ready to hear about what's going on planet Mars. Is there some information we want to hear from planet Mars? They want to share some information?
I got to clarify something because I was going out telling everybody that we're talking to the Martians. It's complicated, more complicated. Don't you hate that when you got to kind of retract what you're saying? Because it's not that we ain't, but we was talking to Audrey. And Audrey, she's so connected and so much. She's another one, just great information, of course. And she was the one we were talking to, black skin, wears a copper helmet, right? And so it's kind of like, you know how it is when you're talking to spirit sometimes, or through telepathy, you get your information. And so I'm like, Matt, we're a little confused about things, but there is a lot of information still to come out, but we can't really say that he's a Martian, but you can roll, because that's where I'm still trying to work out this stuff in my head. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's supposedly what Audrey said, he's more of the inner Earth from one of those land masses. And that's where I get my little brain messed with by Gaia again. Like, is this a flat Earth? Is this a round Earth? Or is this the inner Earth? Like, what do we got going on? So that's where she's like sort of trying to help me to be able to still put out the message that's needed to be said. And that's where Major Kevin, that's where he comes in, because he came through because of Three Eye Atlas. He was supposedly behind Three Eye Atlas because he's trying to come through. He was in the other planetaries and experimenting on how to, what was it? Oh, let me connect to him a little bit better. He's he was trying to figure out the Dyson sphere on other planets without destroying a living planet that wants to live. So he's having to experiment on other planets that don't want to live and try to make a life growing there. So he's coming energetically, not physically, if that makes sense. It's not a physical Dyson sphere he's showing me. More around the certain types of suns and energies and such like that. He's more.
Can I clarify something here where you're in
Yeah,
that thought?
go ahead.
You got to ask AI what happens if you put a partial Dyson sphere around a planet. Then you'll see what we're talking about.
Yes.
If you ask AI what happens if you put a Dyson sphere around the planet, it's no good.
It's no good.
But ask AI when you can, and that will sum up kind of what they're working on, trying to stabilize some of these planets. The Earth is on a wobble. Okay, I guess it started about Atlantis time. And so our hearts are not centered and lined up correctly because
it's to the side, physically.
To the side, and the Earth is to the side. So we're not connecting to our hearts. So there is right now they're doing the surveys. They're surveying.
The thing with the heart is the timeline that I'm originally from. My heart was on the left, and now on this timeline, the heart seems to be in the center of the body.
Right, starting to line up, isn't it?
Mine was on the left. Right, it was always on the left. When I grew up in school, it was on the left. In America, you pledge allegiance on the left, right? So, and now everyone's saying the heart's in the center, and I've got friends who are like nurses, and they say the heart is in the center. It was never in the center, right? So that, yeah, so it's definitely a Mandela effect there for sure. Yeah.
Right. And as you can see, that's kind of aligning up with if Gaia gets aligned, we will be more aligned and come more from our heart.
That's where Kevin comes in.
Okay.
Because that's what he's working on. That's why Audrey saw him in the center of the Earth, because he is working on that, getting the center core fixed. He's figuring out how to put certain types of minerals on the north and south poles to be able to line up to the true north and true south. Right now, well, we've been at a wobble for many years, but we are supposedly lining back up here soon, hopefully. It's still kind of wobbling, he's showing me. But that's what he's working on with the other planets on the outside. And just as timing, Three Eye Atlas, it was late coming in to our solar system before he was able to come through. And he finally passed Jupiter and asteroid belt. He got off of the asteroid belt, and now he's working on the Mars. He's working on Mars right now, Kevin is. And he's trying to get that planet lined up in center core. He's analyzing what's going on these planets before he does anything. He's going all the way through. He went through Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, and Saturn. He went through all of them,
doing surveys
to the point to where he's at Mars now. He's ahead of schedule again. Finally, he's saying so. He's able to make it to January on Mars and figure out what's going on. That's his planet that really needed the most help for the future growth of Earth, is what he's showing me.
So
Can-
if
can-
because I've not thought about the pole shift being a perspective shift before. So do you think the poles have come out of alignment because humanity's perspective is out of alignment? It's reversed in a way. So when we're out of sync with Gaia, so we're physically turning the planet out of sync. Does that make sense? Is that kind of what's happened?
Uh,
Is
could
that
you
just an
say that
interesting
again?
point of
Can you
view?
turn
Well,
the mic up?
yeah, were you
Our
Sorry.
microphone is messing with us. Sorry.
were you
It could be
asking, did
my
we?
mic.
I'm turning
Yes.
up.
No,
All right.
it's
So
our
if our
mic. It's okay.
perspective is out of shift with the planet, are we physically turning the planet out of shift? Because we are not working in line with the planet.
Oh, yeah, that's where the spirit will prevail through the physical. So the collective spirit, if it's not protecting the innocence, then we'll be like Mercury, Mars, or
Yep.
Venus. We'll be just like them if we just keep on going our ways of collectively not protecting the innocence. Like Philippines and Malaysia or something like that, that she was mentioning earlier. They're focused on their children and trying to grow the soil and learning to grow things for themselves and physically maintain their lives and livelihoods. Physically put in so you can physically receive. And that's the part of the innocence to grow and balance and duality. But if we don't get onto that right path, because we went through the war machine time period, World War One, two, and so on. They're in those many bloody areas, and now Palestine and such like that. All the amount of blood going down, that's not protecting the innocents. That's spilling the innocents' blood on the soil. That's where the problem comes through, is the amount of screams of crying for loving. People are crying to love while getting shot. Wow, that's a lot of energy. Sorry. But yeah, yeah. I think I explained it good enough, I think. Is that good?
Yeah, I got a question for you. So, Major Kevin, I guess DNA, he's got Martian DNA. Is he Martian or
Energetically connected
energetic?
to the Martians
Okay.
by the physical men seeing
Right.
his technology and his understanding as him being a Martian, but he's not a physical
Okay.
Martian, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
It's just he got tithings and duality working with the Martians.
Okay, and the Martians were the techno guys, right? And then they left for a long time. Is that true? And that's where they got when they left our galaxy and went and worked on other galaxies, and they learned what they could do. They'd rather work on a dead galaxy somewhere than break ours. And so they're kind of back to work.
Yes, that was like Atlantis time period when Mars and Venus was still a planetary physical forms. Might be prior from Atlantis, actually, a little older than Atlantis, but that's where they were still alive, and he was a physical man type of deal, or his bloodline was a physical man on Earth, but he's been out in space and the other solar system trying to figure out these new technologies for this amount of time period through his bloodline to help Earth and such like that.
Okay.
That's when Asgard got blown up and such like that. The wars, the galactic wars and such like that was going on. That's that time period when his race had to leave to figure out how to actually regenerate these planets to a proper growth. So that's how long they've been out. You look at your pyramids and such like that, and that's what they built those years ago. And actually, there's only a few pyramids. There's other older ones than those ones, and those are the ones that his race actually came from before they left the planet. So the pyramids is almost on the borderline of the planets of Mars and Venus still being alive to them being destroyed. So it's complicated.
And those pyramids were a miscalculation put on the equator.
Balancers
Should have been like North and South Pole, but anyway.
Supposed to been, because that's what they're yes, that they were learning at the time, and they messed up, and they didn't went to the full thought. Those pyramids, the big ones, were supposed to not keep the balance. They're supposed to hold the points, if that makes sense. Instead of having balancing points
on the outside
of the tire, you want to hold the tire together If your axle's all messed and wobbly, then there's no way you can really balance it. That's the way. He's showing that you got to have an axle that holds you solid.
Hold the axle solid.
Hold the axle solid. It's pretty much the will of the earth that he's trying to fix.
That's a great analogy. That's a great comparison. Thanks for illustrating that for us.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
thanks for asking.
Thank you for asking, because I didn't know.
Can I ask you more about the North Pole? Is there stuff going on that you wanted to share with us?
Oh, what do you got going on? Because, George the giant, he goes through the North Pole, and it's like there's 3 ways to look at it. It's either a dimension portal that he goes through, or it's a landmass he goes through, or it's a vortex that he goes in. He's showing me those 3 different ways because it's not really describable, and that's understandable with our little solar system we can't even figure out.
So this is what a Bigfoot is describing. Is he familiar or aware of any of the military industrial complex up there in the North Pole messing around with portals and stuff?
Yes, George saying it's really hard for him to be able to go through the portals because of them, because they're always watching, but it's easy for him at night, though. That's the only, he can't do it during daylight. He doesn't travel in the daylight anyways. He prefers nighttime anyways. Better weather for some reason. It's colder for him.
George is what, 107?
178. 9. Going on 9. He's going on 9.
179. Right. He was
79 now.
So is he a giant or a Bigfoot?
This is
George the giant. He's actually a giant. He's as tall as a tree. Give you an estimate of how tall he is in comparison to a Bigfoot.
Yeah, giants start at about 20 foot up.
Wow. So I've been told that I have an ability to track giants and open doorways to where giants roam. But I don't know if that's just because of where I am right now, which is surrounded by water on 3 sides. So there's no way this is a giant area. I don't know. Or if it's something in my lineage or whatever. But I've never encountered a giant, and I'm a very small person, so it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, yeah, this is where the clarification comes through, because it's the energetic giant that you're putting through. And the more you practice your energetic giants, as in like the topics that you bring out into this world, and busting the barriers of this dimensions that most people don't go through. Most people are afraid to pop their own bubbles. Most people, look out there. How many people put the mask on? I'm just saying in a kind of categorize of
But
not really good or bad about it. But
energetically, I am a giant. But physically, I'm small. I know energetically I'm a giant because I feel extremely big, like 50 feet. Yeah.
Yes, you're right, because we all are actually big. As crazy it is, that's your higher self on the other side. We are having to go through this physical form as a prism of light to be able to fit our giant. Once we get through here, then we could possibly step into ourselves, our highest self, our pure self, the only one and good intentional one of us, yourself, your domain, to be there, your higher self, and composed you, a full you, true you.
A good example is Jim Morrison hasn't stepped into his higher self because of the things they've done to him here, so he's still working. So that gives you an idea. It ain't so easy to get into your higher self, because that is a giant to get into.
Mm-hmm. It's a perfected body of yourself to get into. Perfected.
Yeah,
every slice of hair will fit that body. That's how
I work with Sean Bond, and he talks about the ego being that large protective force. So I always think of my ego self as being a big giant that protects me in battles in the galaxy. That's the giant kind of self that I think of. Think of it as an ego, but not in a egotistical way, as in that's my warrior aspect.
Yes, that's the way you could prevail through this world. It helps. It does. To be able to conquer the giants of this world, that's prevailing against you. You're able to prevail against them with your giant self, your higher self. So yes, you're prevailing.
Hey, you seem like the right expert to ask about this. I'm always trying to encourage people to get in touch with their higher self. How would you recommend the regular person, the average Joe, do something like that?
Rest on your spirit and prevail through the physical. Don't, yeah, that's it. Love
Enough said.
yourself. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Very good. Thank you. Would you like to
Be
talk
like
about
child.
I'm sorry?
Be like a child. No different. What does a child
Right.
do? They're the biggest bodies of them all. They are ginormous. The small that they could put out can hit the whole crowd of a football stadium, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
So, how small? Rest on the spirit and prevail through the physical with love of yourself.
You reminded me of the Cyclops, which will kiss a flower. And just think about that one. I mean, a Cyclops has been deemed as
A mean
horrible,
eater.
but they will kiss a flower. They will kiss a butterfly.
They'll kiss a
So
butterfly.
just think about that one. That's a higher self right there. That's pretty good stuff.
Mhm.
That's right. Right on. Yeah, thank you. Cool. That helps out a lot. And I mean, it couldn't be any simpler, and it's supposed to be simple, so you know it's right.
Right? Yeah.
All right.
It's natural. Yeah.
So I know that you and Julia have an affinity for dragons, and I'm all interested in hearing what you and Julia might have to say about dragons. I have written down that there's an Appalachian dragon, and maybe we want to ask how crystals expand consciousness and improve our telepathic communication.
Yeah. Appalachian. There's two types of, there's two. See, that was during okay. I'll start from the beginning right here. Because the Appalachian Dragon is a great man. He is a male on the Appalachian side. And on the Pacific coast, there's a female. She's a whole lot bigger. She goes to Minnesota. That's her head, and she goes on down to uh, Mexico, and her tail goes right up the coastline. Give you an estimate of idea of how big she is, and they came from the galactic wars. Gaia had to birth those dragons during that time period. She had to birth them from an egg and have them grow because of the galactics coming in without no innocent protection, but just of grabbing intentions. And she had to birth them. She felt the sense from the sun to to give an egg onto this earth for them to grow. And that's where your titans came from, and these ginormous creatures. And the dinosaur age, they had to be here to protect the earth, to compact the soil, and to, fight against these doers and scare them off. The other solar system, the galactics, were terrified of this earth by the time they got here. And that's where Mars and Venus, their planets, got almost demolished during that time period. And that's where they lost their heart in living. And Earth, she kept prevailing against the easy route of dying, right? Of letting go. She prevailed against that. Because she cared about her innocence. She remembered her giants and the way that they loved the littles. And she saw how they died on this earth. As they laid, there was millions of us species. You call us as species at that time because they were our protectors. They laid down and we laid under their feathers like ticks and mites. And we finally came crawling out of the holes after the torching of the land. That's why you have granite and so much other crystals. So the crystals are coming from the galactic wars. These certain types of crystals, if that's understandable.
I'm going to add a couple notes to that because
Yeah, please.
first, dragons' eggs are crystals, and they take eons to hatch. And also, Gaia's recently gave birth to, I think it was 5 babies. I don't know what kind, didn't ask.
Three.
3 babies?
3 babies.
2 male, 1 female. Was that it?
And then, oh, yeah. I guess you're right. 5. For some reason, I saw 3. But yeah, it was 5.
So I don't know what that's about, but I know Gaia does. And
He's trying to read. Sorry, his own writing. Hold on.
Nope. Well, I just oh, okay, I got Fountain of Youth. I was going to say, under those dragons, this is just a little side note. The Appalachian is a dragon. Rocky Mountains is a dragon. I'm sure there's more around the world. They all laid down to protect Gaia during that storm. At that time, Earth was on the other side of the, luckily on the other side of the sun. So when they blew up Maldek or Asgard, what do you want to call it? I think Mars was in the way. It was on the other side of the sun. So Mars took the beating, and then the sun basically protected us, and that's why the Earth is still here. And of course, we all still, we all took protection underneath those dragons. That
Venus protected us from the sun because the sun had to shoot his arches and had to protect us from the arches because how close these arrows going to hit Earth to hit the enemy, the protruders.
Oh yeah.
tick. Yeah, we had to have it ivermectin tick bath for Earth. Ivermectin. We had Earth had to be pesticided for a while to clean up some of the mess. But I wanted to say there's a Fountain of Youth on the down in like the Appalachian where the male's genitals are, which is about 3 miles under Lost Sea, which there is a area there where there is algae that heals everything. And also under the Rocky Mountains there where the female dragon is, where her eggs are, there's a place there. If you can get to these places, we've had lots of talks about how to get to them and all this kind of stuff. We actually know this one, the one here that we're talking about is near us. And there's a lot of work involved in getting there. There's actually, in that location, there's actually soldiers there. They call them rangers because it was 30 years ago. They're still there. They'll never die as long as they stay there because they can completely regenerate. And so we're looking forward to one day opening that up.
Guy saying, don't be in a rush.
Don't be in a rush. We're not.
Give them time because they're still coping with what they're experiencing.
Yeah, they can't come back up here because you can imagine what they've been through. But that's another whole topic. Just wanted to throw that on your radar.
It's pitch quietness for 5 hours and then terrorizing everything, full on throttle, throw your arm at something,
pull your arm
4
off,
or 5 minutes
apart.
That's the top attitude down there because everything's healing. You take an arm off, cut, however.
We're Bigfoot vacation. It's where Bigfoots take their children when their children are 2 weeks old to break them from fear. Give you no idea of what we would call hell.
Mm-hmm.
That's anyway. That's just definitely another whole topic.
Yeah, to get out of the fear of the physical and recognize that the spirit would prevail. It's the divide of the physical to spirit. Recognize that you are spirit.
I mean, Bigfoots are walking with a week old.
Fear. Within they could be. Janice Carter, she said they'll be coming out walking. Bigfoots
could come out walking.
They'll be coming out walking. Well, us white people, it takes about 3 years. A year. I'll mess.
Okay, we'll get back on topic. Sorry.
That's awesome. You have a very inspirational way of couching everything. Spirit prevails. It's easy to get downtrodden and defeatist, but not when I'm listening to you saying spirit prevails. So thanks for being inspirational. So I understand there's some funky cryptid stuff going on in Appalachia. I know you talked about the dogmen and the underground laboratories. Is there any kind of update you'd like to share about that at all?
Yes. Well, I got one thing to say about the spirit prevails. It's not a religious thought about, I'm speaking about spirit, right? It's a survival. You can't survive through this world without your spirit, right? The other side of you, that their energy, your spirit's like your heartbeat, the vortex of your heart. it's a energy that pumps you. It's not a pump, if it gives you an idea. Your spirit is prevailing you right now in your heart, right? And your brain, connecting your neurons. That is your spirit, right? Your energy. Give you an idea of, like, it's not religious, it's a physical, scientific thing that's going on with you all the time.
I was
Um,
watching you talk about this on Karen's show, and it was making me think about inner compass. So the blood pressure and everything, the heartbeat, that's your inner compass. So as you're saying, that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah.
That's right. That's your inner compass. Yeah, your energy, your aura field that's around you. It is actually, you can measure it, and it is physical. And that's your compass that tells you stop, go, run. So,
And
yeah.
one point to your spirit thing was before anything came into physical, it was spirit. I use the turtle, for example. The turtle was in spirit, but before it came flesh, and God had to make a body for it because it says, I want to walk. And so, or whatever it did. And we are basically breakaway mushrooms, if you want to look at it that way. Does it make sense? That kind of makes all that kind of like, oh, okay, I see how that we're walking. I call us walking mushrooms because we broke away from the land we walk. Our spirit, wanted to move, so we're moving.
And that's where
I
God
say
comes in.
walking trees, but I like your mushroom one because whenever I do groups of people, we extend our roots down to the mycelial network. So we are still mushroom family. Yeah, love it.
Heck yeah. That's where God kind of comes in a scientific form, as in, like, he's the one that just tries to put a vessel for you, your spirit. He just created the vessel for you. That's where Gaia is like, there has to be a truth behind all this, a physical thing that happened. Yes, a physical thing happened where you got created into a form where you can manage yourself to be as you are, as a dragonfly to a elephant. You're going to be you, however. So, yeah. And then, Ray, you were talking
Yeah.
about,
Well,
could you remind me?
I had asked you about the dogman in Appalachia and the laboratories underground.
Laboratory underground. That's the part. Yeah. Okay. Um, see, the Oak Ridge laboratories and such like that here in Tennessee, and let alone all the other places like Colorado, Denver, and underneath the airport. Who knows what's going on there? But however, there is a lot of laboratories going on near the forest lines, near the national forest. Dodo, I forgot his name. Down in Alabama. Dude. Okay, it doesn't matter, but he had experience of them actually having these laboratory animals and setting them out in the national forests. See, they are actually physically creating these beings. You gotta watch out for the mutants. Those are the ones that are the innocent, that has no protection and no love. They are in need for help. They're in crying for help whenever they're destroying things, if that's understandable. So you're getting attacked by a mutant. Well, just know that he got brutalized like he's doing to you. Give you an idea. Like, I haven't heard a story of them actually killing a person like Bigfoot or such like that, but give you an idea, it probably had happened in some type of scenarios.
But I'm aware
Oh,
of
like
something that's
wolves and
happened
such. Yes, they do.
recently. Recently, there was an altercation with a Bigfoot friend called Hajamal. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of Hajamal. David Purcell and Christopher Jacobs and myself have all connected to Hajamal. And Hajamal came forward to David and he was injured. And David didn't know where he was. And then I tracked him. I had a map open in my mind and I tracked him across the states. And I tracked him to Dulcie Base. And then Christopher Jacobs went and did the work on it and found, yes, he was located in that base. He had been captured and attacked and he was on the mend. So he's safe now. But there was some kind of altercation between the government and the forest people that went down in the last 6 weeks or so. So I don't know if you guys have heard anything about that on your end. I'm not sure
That's
what
true.
happened. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Scott, he's been quiet this year, actually. This whole year, he's been quiet. I call it dark mode. He goes into dark mode whenever there's a high stress level of being a poacher being around, give you an idea, like the government coming in. And he's really keen on no ETs. So if he's that well with ETs, he's that well with the government saying no government. He talks about the tunnels that are underground, and I'm not going to talk about the real.
No, I'm trying to stay on topic.
Yeah. So he talks about those tunnels. If you get caught underneath those certain types of tunnels where the governments are, they will definitely capture you in the moment. They have this energetic, what do you call it? Electricity in there of some type, magnetic or something like that, that captivates their physical body to stun them, and they just drop and they can't move because there's some type of energetic thing like a security breach they have in those tunnels, and it kind of paralyzes them if he did went in there because he saw it with one of his friends, I think one of his dogman friends. He got paralyzed going through the tunnel because he was just trying to check it out, where this tunnel goes to. And he just saw his buddy just dropped and stunned. He never saw that. He's like, I'm out, and his buddy, he finally came out about 7 years later.
Whoa.
Yeah, 7 years later. This is 5 years later after the incident that happened where he learned this. So you got to watch out for the government for what they've done to these beings. Where am I going with this?
Let me tell you. Let me jump in a few points. We had hiking up in Kentucky where we go for one of our gifting spots. We had recovered how many tarps?
9 abandoned tarps.
9 abandoned tarps. Now all these tarps, we brought them home because we cleaned up. We took the trash out, but every one of them has like a peeky hole. Now these mutants, they drop from helicopters into these, especially Middle Tennessee, where they like I said, they abuse these things, these creatures. There was one that attacked us when I didn't even have any legs. It was up in a tree. It couldn't even come down to the ground. But they are very abusive, and these mutants, and putting them out to create chaos and to create problems. You know how the government loves to create this kind of stuff. And now, as far as Bigfoots, their number one fear is captivation, being caught. Because they use like a Thurgood cage, or whatever that cage is.
Thurgood, yeah.
Yeah, they control them and they get them. And a lot of Bigfoots are, the government catches them. It's government/ET working together. That's how they can get. That's how they get the technology to get a hold of the Bigfoots. And they do use the Bigfoots, and they do mutilize them, and they do abuse them, just like they do humans and anything else they can get their hands on.
Like test rats.
Yeah. And so there is Bigfoots that work with some of that technology. Some of the blue balls, they have a belt, and they can they can travel through technology orbs, and then and they also have like an earring thing that they clamp to some of them, so they can't use portals. They bounce in, they bounce out, so they tag them, so they can't. So there's a huge amount of problems the Bigfoots deal with trying to just stay foot on this earth. And the list of Vril's a whole another topic. They're also they travel underground, and they have problems with the Vril. Mm-hmm. That's another whole topic.
If anything, he's saying that he has more of a good relationship with the Vril than he does with the government or ETs. But there's nothing wrong with the ETs. It's just he knows that he can't protect himself if he's on a ship. So it's nothing about whether the ETs are good or not. He knows that whether they are or not, I don't want to be caught, right? And he doesn't want to be he has been on a ship. He trusted the ET, and then they did something. And this was this year where he blacked out from talking to me, and then he finally got back onto the soil, and he told me what happened. He had respect for this ET, got on the ship, and here comes a new ET coming around the corner that the ET didn't tell him about. And he just freaked out and about busted the dang gun ship down to the soil himself.
Wow.
So they had to land fast before he did destroy the ship by where they can't take off the land. And then they can't breathe on this land is what he was showing me. Like he almost made it to where they couldn't breathe.
Right,
Luckily,
because they
that
hadn't
machine was
informed
still
him of this
working.
new person that was coming to this meeting, and so it's a he's running a what do you call it, a pipeline, trying to work with them to help the Myrrh. And
He
he's
has
only
to
and
use
then
those
and
ships
Scott
to work with Myrrh.
Scott's 18.
No, he's
19.
now he's older, 19.
19. Yeah, he's 19
Yeah.
years old. Scott is. This is the Bigfoot that Matt works with here. He's only 19,
Yeah.
which is amazing.
Coming to 20 this year.
Yeah, he's that young and he's doing
Yeah.
all this.
Yeah, that's how young he is. Yeah.
Well, I would say in lots of ways, beings and people who are not raised on surface planet Earth are more mature than we are and more educated than we are. I mean, this is my perspective. Do you also see that there's kind of a dumbing down for us on Earth so that we don't know about consciousness? We don't know about other creatures and beings on Earth? In general, you have a lot of knowledge that we would never even hear about if we didn't hear about it from you.
Right. So it's nothing about being dumbed down. I mean, a deer knows what he knows to survive, right? And humans know what they know on how to survive. What the issue is where the um what do you call it? Corruption, people that wants to take more than what is theirs, trying to take from others, Like people used to trade gold for gold, They used to trade a goat for a pig, People used to have physical things. Now we trade in paper money. And we took away our physical assets and put it onto paper. And now we could trade the X amount of money for a spoon, right? Now you can feed yourself. But it's not a dumbing down. It's more of a getting scammed down out of your inheritance.
Let me point out what makes sense to me on that question.
Yeah.
Is the difference between a race and a species. When a human being identifies as a dog, I'm sorry, guys, you're out. You understand? Now you're a species. If you know yourself, and you can, and that's what they don't want. They don't want people to know their powers. They don't want you to know that you are the controller of your destiny. What you believe you will create. They want humans to give up their race rights and become a species. So as far as dumbing down, totally, they've got a lot of people that are laying down their powers for someone else to manage, which means you are converting yourself into a species. That's the way I like to see it. That's the way I see it. And very concerning because a lot of people don't believe in themselves, and that's going to be that's a problem.
And that's the part where helping your brother, helping your sister out comes into play because they can't stand up without those around them to help them. Right? I mean, you can't go against a full-on corrupt system by yourself. No, you got to bring on some friends. We have to help each other out. You see a way to help somebody, prevail in some way to do that, in a good way. Stand up with them. When they stand up and speak and they're on it, stand up with them. If they're off, if they're off, I mean, maybe they're not standing up for the right. You got to know spirit when spirit calls you to stand up. Help your brothers and sisters.
I'm going to point out one example of a natural example. If on sage, if you pick sage's small, innocent,
new growth,
it'll die.
That branch dies.
Because if you take its innocence, it will die. So, and that's a natural example of how it's going to work for us humans. If we don't take care of our offsprings, our babies, we're going to die. That's kind of it. That's a nature example.
Yes.
Thank you both guys. Very illuminating. I was wondering if, Julia, do you have a question on any of this, by the way? Should I interrupt myself?
No, no, I'm good. Yeah, you can carry on. Yeah.
Okay. So, unless you guys have anything else to say on those subjects, maybe we could explore the idea of the Scorpion King from Revelation.
That sounds
Okay,
good to
this will
me.
be fun. You want
Okay.
to tell them when
So,
we first met him?
well, if you don't mind, guys, I had to look up the Scorpion King, so maybe for the benefit of the audience, I could read to you the notes, the information I came up with first.
Excellent, excellent,
Excellent.
Okay?
Yes,
excellent.
please.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So, the Scorpion King, as I learned from Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot, comes from Revelation 9. He is the angel of the abyss, which is a bottomless pit. He has a couple of different names. One is Apollyon, kind of like the name Apollo, but Apollyon, which is Greek for the destroyer. And there's another Hebrew name of Abaddon, kind of sounds like Aladdin a little bit, and that also means destruction. So the Scorpion King is the king of what they call locusts, but these things are demons that are horse like and they have scorpion like tails to torment people for 5 months at a time. And the passage in the Bible symbolizes the tribulation and judgment for those without God's protection. So, here, would you guys like to go ahead and add to that before I pose questions? Go ahead.
My dad wants to bring it up.
Yeah, I was just going. I'm going to start off by saying that Scorpion King is one of God's spies, and so we have to be careful because he is God's spies, and we know we talked to the Scorpion King, and we've learned a lot about Scorpion King, and we had experience. We first the first time we met Scorpion King, we were
Coca
gold
Creek.
panning down in Coca Creek, Tennessee, and there was these sounds of trumpets or sounds of
Thunder.
thundering horse beats coming through, coming
Buffalo.
over our
Buffalo
camp.
hoof.
Right. And so that was the
Stampede.
first time
Yeah.
that we came close to him. That wasn't, Matt didn't start talking to him until years later.
Yeah.
We had no idea, but that was the first time that we had what we called a ghost herd. But that was the
I
first.
was looking out both windows. I did not see nothing.
Yeah, so
it
that
was
was-
above us.
I thought I was going to die from I thought I thought it was going to roll over my tent. I thought it was this herd of buffalo in the middle of mountains. What in the world was that about? So anyway, that was our original encounter with Scorpion King. But over time, he came in and started informing himself on stuff. Where would you like to go? Because
Yeah,
like I
because
said,
I'll talk about the Scott because that's
yeah,
the next time.
yeah. This is yeah.
We were on a live talking to somebody, but Scott was it was on the pounce because there was this critter that kept on breaking trees vainly, it seemed like. He's like, why is this creature keep on destructing these trees? Even the trees are telling Scott, saying, this creature keeps on hurting me for no reason. Just like that, So Scott's like, no, I ain't gonna put up with this. I'm gonna find this critter and see what he's doing because every area he's in, there's a distortion of energy, and these people gets even ramped up in rage and such like that. He's like, what's going on in this place? What's going on with this guy? So he finally got him. He finally found the critter. He found Scorpion King. He was like chasing him down. He was on the pounce. He pounced on him, and he was going tussling around and such like that. And finally, he grabbed the tail of the Scorpion King, and his hands felt like he gripped onto a thorny porcupine or something like that. He got hair that's super thick and strong. So he grabbed it and he had to slide so it won't poke his hand so bad. And then he finally tried to swing around and bust him against a tree and he got away, the Scorpion King. And then he talked to George the Giant and George was like, dude, did you know he just messed with? That was one of God's spies.
And so Scorpion. Go ahead.
Then Scott worked with Scorpion King. He's like, hey, now what are you really about? I don't mean to really tussle you up. And Scorpion King's like, yeah, dude, I just want to have fun. I figured you're going to track me anyways. So
What Scorpion King does is he amps up the energy. Say your family is arguing, fighting, and he'll come along and he will amp up your energy to get you to get off the fence. He's that's what Scorpion King does. That's how he affects people by doing that kind of stuff.
you can call him a demon, you can call him whatever, but he's just going to amp up what you are prevailing outwards. So you prevail negative, he'll prevail more of that energy, ampage, back to you. And you'll be like wondering why you're getting louder. Well, you're getting amped by your own self. He echoes back to you what you're putting out because you don't know God. You don't know how to come to center. You don't know how to love. You don't know how to forgive. That's a hard one sometimes, in the moment to relax. And you get amped up. That's just what he does. You can call him a guardian angel that helps you to prevail against your evil ways and do
I can
good.
relate. I'm a Scorpio, and I have a Scorpion entity as well that I work with, and so yeah, I can relate to all of that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Good.
We're Tana's Scorpion, Matt's Sag, and I'm Gemini. So we have no earth here. We have no grounding. It's all water, air, and fire. We have no earth in our house.
Yeah. I got a Scorpio moon. My shadow side Scorpio, so I got that little side too. So I'm water and fire. Those two are not supposed to mix.
So yeah, like you said, Ray, in Revelations 9, it's really interesting because it doesn't really line up from what we know, but there is it's there and it does talk about them. And but that's kind of Revelations, I think he was explaining to us, is really something that's internal. We always think
Yes.
revelation is an external thing.
He
And it's
said that.
yeah, and he's the one that kept pointing out to us that revelation is actually an internal thing. So, and he's the one that kind of helps make that happen for those that are need to go left or right and are stuck. He will amp it up. He will amp up a scene, and he travels, and he's one of God's spies, and he's helping people, get off the fence, go this way or go that way. But it's so he's got his job. He does a lot.
Yeah, he doesn't take credit. He's still showing me that, no, I'm not taking no credit for that. I mean, he's the one that told me, but he doesn't take credit for nothing for some reason. But yes, he's the one that showed us that he's the one that, not that. Well, I was trying to go off what you're saying. I need some water.
Yeah. Take a time out. Yeah. So, while you were explaining how it was like an internal thing, an individual situation, it kind of threw my questions out of the water. Check out these questions I had for the Scorpion King. Are you engaged in your namesake destruction now, or do you look forward to more? I was thinking on a grand Earth scale, but that's all about on the inside. Is he enjoying destroying us on the inside? Does he look forward to 2026 amping us up and getting us all fired up in 2026?
He could, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever the collective puts out, he'll put back in. All right. He's really saying the whole Bible is supposed to be interpreted as within. The White House, the castle, whatever it is within you, not without you, not a physical place. Your vessel, your I forgot what they call it, your temple. Yes, your temple is the place within you. You got two temples, your left side and the right side. Your temple is within you. The whole Bible is to be interpreted within you. It's not to be placed on judgment for others. The judgment's within you. When you read, the Bible is supposed to be within you, but they always try to reword. See, Jesus, that's where Jesus comes in because he wants to show that he does not write a single word. He does not. He doesn't even like speaking. It's spelling and it's cursing and it's like witchcraft, and that's the part that words is not a way to show truth. The physical way is how you show truth. To plant a seed and give them the right amount of water, you will prevail and see that you have truth and know how to. Without math, without judgment of scales, you could do those ways, but it doesn't mean you did it right and the truth, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So you've really given the Scorpion King a different look for me. I had a different look going into our meeting today because I was going to ask, what motivates the Scorpion King to destroy, and can't we negotiate?
Yeah, he loves to negotiate. He wants to amp up love so long. He can't. People keeps on going to the negative side. He has to go prevail through the darkness. Because if the darkness does not get fixed, then how can people love? How can the innocent be protected? He has to go to where no man goes. He has to go where no one will travel to. That's why he's placed there. That's why his spirit got created a form. That's why his spirit was created a form. Because he needed to transmute those energies against the wrong that's going on and amp them up to the point of breaking where the individual changes for the betterment.
And that brings up testament being the test of men.
And that's where Jesus comes in. He's the New Testament. Jesus is not the name or a human. He is of love. There was no love prior to that testament. It was by law. Men only knew law. That was the law. So righteously, everyone should be able to get slaughtered off. Hanging should be considered the law. And it's true. It's rightful. You killed one, you kill the other. That's how the law worked. Jesus came in. Love came in. Forgiveness came in. And that's the New Testament. Can we move forward from the bad ways and do good work in front of us? That's what the new test for men is. Can we sweep forward with the good ways?
That's beautiful. Well, thanks. I did have Jesus on my list. While he's here, what does he want? I don't even want to ask a question. You have such a nice perspective. It's so different from where I'm going. What does Jesus want to tell us?
See, that's the part that Jesus is coming in, and Gaia's even coming in on this one. It's like he loves anyone's creative thoughts to come in. So anything you ask, you shall receive. You ask not, that's how it happens. You receive not. But he understands you, and he knows where you're coming from because that message needed to come through. It was fun. He loves everybody. Let's see.
I want to say. I want to say something about. I was going to say something about. The other day, Jesus came through and Matt stops, right, and he's like, "Huh? What? Wow." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Dude, Jesus is feminine." He goes, "I was like, what?" And I wasn't like, "Wow." Jesus and Matt was like, "Wow, I had no idea what a feminine spirit." Right? That was a mind blower, wasn't it? It's like, wow. To me, it was like, whoa, because I mean, these things are just so amazing.
Things I don't recognize. Like right now, like I didn't recognize. Yeah, he's still just that super. I already tuned in and I understand it now, but it's like it was a big barrier. Like I didn't know he was. I could almost consider him as a woman, a strong lady that stood up for the innocents. That strong. It's like the Native American mom, and she just pulls out that whip against that child. Thank God, right. Play, but also goes straight into that creek and just plays with the crawdads and show how to create a little city for the kids to see for the crawdads. Like, look at this big old castle. She's the one that, that's like Jesus' energy. That's like Gaia's energy. They share the same energy.
What about Mary Magdalene? How does that feel compared to Jesus when you channel Mary Magdalene?
Yes, when we're channeling Mary Magdalene, now you're channeling the physical form of Jesus of when he was here and when she was here. And what's going on there was she's the one that said that the Romans are the rapists of literature.
She did have a book and they raped her book.
She wrote a book and they changed all of her words. Or not all of it, but in their interpretation of what she said. The Romans. So, she's been through a lot, right? And during that time period, and seeing Jesus got crucified, but she saw Jesus afterwards, and she's still with him today, physically in the spirit world. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Any questions? Anything? That's good.
I feel like I should have been better prepared to talk to Jesus because we share the same birthday.
With me every time.
So I heard a story because I read a book called the Golden Prophecy, the story about the Tayuba planet, and they talked about a Jesus that went to Japan. And I don't know if the Jesus that you're talking to wants to, comment. Was there a Jesus that went to Japan?
You talking about the one that was on the airplane and they tried to chop him up in little pieces? Was that the guy?
No,
No, okay.
no. I'm actually talking about like after the crucifixion, uh, Jesus went on to France with Mary Magdalene and started their Holy Grail family. But meanwhile, there was another Jesus that went to Japan, and I guess he's buried there. This is a story I heard. I'm checking with you, see if it's right.
That sounds like his physical form was actually buried in Japan. That was after he got crucified and he continued walking on the earth and he made it to Japan. Type of
That's right.
deal.
Yeah,
So yes, that's his physical form, his physical travels after death. He was the one that did the Himalayan, the top of the not really top of the mountain, but um
Summit.
the energy. No, like they said there was the galactics that came down and such like that. It was more of like a Jesus thing that happened. It was Buddha then like Buddha was the Moses of the time, that kind of theory. I'm saying, and then he came through to show anybody that walks in his name, walks in the name of love, walks in the protection of innocence, protecting those around them that are innocent, showing them the way. Anybody that walks in those ways are him, is him, has the body and the flesh of him and the blood of him. You can be Jesus yourself. Just as you are is as he was.
And add one other thing to the Jesus story is there was they put him in that cave, and I was telling you about the algae, and I was telling you
yeah,
about yeah, we had heard that the Bigfoots actually put hands on Jesus in the cave, which is probably not going to be popular with a lot of people, but with the algae and stuff, just thought that was pretty cool.
yeah.
Yes. Um, that was
Very
on the
I was just gonna say another very beautiful message. Thanks a lot. So I heard a story that Jesus' spirit might have a tie to the planet Aldebaran. Aldebaran. I don't know if you can comment on that, or Aldebaran.
Eldevrone. 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 That sounds more right. Eldevrone. So yes, wherever you heard the information, it was true. I don't
Very
know.
good.
Eldevrone. I don't know,
Aldebaran,
but
Aldebaran, or
yes,
Aldebaran.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
I check out this story. So the story I heard was that they're so advanced on this planet that they could tell that this soul, Jesus, was going to be born, but he didn't fit the physical type that they wanted on the planet. So they pre-excommunicated him and he found his way to Earth, basically. I don't know if that story matches up with what you can see.
Could you repeat that again? That's it. I
Sure.
gotta hear that twice.
Yeah, I'm going to do my best to try to repeat it. It's a
Sorry.
complicated story.
It
So
is.
before Jesus was born on this other planet, Aldebaran, they had the technology to determine that when he was born, he was going to have dark hair, and that was like verboten on Aldebaran. So they expelled his soul, and eventually his soul found a way and found a body here on Earth, and that's how Jesus incarnated down here. That's one version of the story.
Oh, that's transferring. Um, he had to visit heaven before he made it to Earth. So, his spirit kept on traveling through. Maybe he did made it to a planet, but he also made it to the heaven. And his spirit had to travel through the physical dimensions here and prevail. Every place that he hit was a blessing spot.
Ah,
Whatever happens there will spread, and they'll recognize one day of what has occurred, why they kicked him out, and then that revelation to them will come back to them. What they put out will reflect back on them, and they will receive what has happened. So yeah, that was his spirit traveling through these different planetaries and such like that, to then made it to Earth when she was giving birth in the manger, if that makes sense. So that was that whole
Yeah.
time period. The amount of kings that there was the amount of planets he landed on at his birth,
Wow.
what I heard.
Yeah, I also heard that Jesus didn't have any DNA and he never reincarnated.
That
Almost
matches
like
up with what I
plasma
knew.
came, almost like plasma that just came through,
Yeah.
pure energetic form that came through. That's what he's showing me.
Wow. That's this is really special, guys. Thanks for sharing all this.
This is new for me.
Well, this is new for us.
Like,
Yeah,
whoa.
nice. I don't want to leave. I should have closed with Jesus, but I don't want to leave out Soichiro Honda.
Shichiro Honda? Oh, Honda. Yeah,
Yeah, Mr. Honda.
Shichiro Honda. Yeah. I forgot that's his name. Yeah. Or,
So
yeah.
Soichiro Honda, he's not on planet Earth now, right? He's not alive right now, is he?
No, he passed, I think, not long ago. Oh,
Yeah,
maybe more than
10,
5,
15, 20
10
years
years
ago.
ago.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
And
yeah.
full disclosure, I own and operate a Honda Element. I've had it since 2003, so it's going on 23 years old. Beautiful car. I love my car. So thank you, Mr. Honda. But I got a couple of questions. It's related to the secret space programs. Like, for example, does he know that Subaru is operating off planet, making private spacecraft for individuals?
Sam's, yeah, he's saying that's a, see, he didn't know where the technology was going to go. But yes, he does see his brother, um, as in Brother Factory, Subaru. He prefers them being closer contact with Honda in comparison to Samsung type of corporation. Um, he respects Subaru a lot. There's a reason for it. I'll explain later. And he he's just like us. No, he's just like us. I think he's like in awe, like, dang, Subaru's doing stuff in space. So he's just like us, like my dad. If he was working on stuff and he finally created a Honda generator and such like that. So yeah, he's like, that's pretty cool. He didn't expect the technology of Japan to be this great. He really, really figured America to be the one to prevail the technology through this cosmos. But somehow things elapsed before his passing that he was seeing things uncovering. Everything's getting uncovered, that corruption and scamming and cheaper products is doing better than the proper built items.
false flag,
The
false flag of Pearl Harbor.
false flag of Pearl
Oh, yeah.
Harbor and such like that. That's whenever the key things that messed him up. Like, America is supposed to have been the one that prevailed us through the new age, but the corruption in between is what we're going through. We're all going through this whole ordeal, and hopefully the American men will still be able to prevail the quality of work that they used to build in the 20s.
That's going way
10s.
back. That's 100 years ago.
Yeah.
20s. Yeah, exactly.
1800s too. He's saying that Diesel, yeah, he's pointing at Diesel. Like,
Yeah, Rudolph Diesel.
and
He's
Rudolph
pumped.
is a heck of an energy.
He's pumped. Rudolph Diesel he's hot.
He's like in turmoil. If you want to understand what turmoil is, it's like your good works can't prevail in this world. That's turmoil. He
Yeah, he
That's
got
turmoil.
yeah. To say Rudolph gave us energy where we would use waste for fuel, which was perfect because we were that. What they call that? They call that a certain type of blessing. But he had created that blessing where you would use. We had energy from uh, reusable energy, all oils. That was the thing. And so he's in turmoil because they're like skipping the diesel and moving on to all this other stuff when we have the perfect technology. And so I can see why he's really not happy, or not real, because I mean that was a perfect thing when you can work with a balance with Mother Earth. That was the diesel. It uses any kind of oil, and that's what it was designed for. That was for everyone to have the ability to grow food, and everyone, that was it was it was a great. I forget what the invention's called, but it's
Yeah, well, Diesel doesn't want to take off the point of Honda. Honda wants to. Diesel wants Honda to finish, because he's too big of a topic, and Honda is the main key player in this because he had quality things that got put out and is still being used today. The part of a non-turmoil ordeal going on with Honda, a blessing that's returning to him in spirit. See, Honda says that nothing prevails onto the other side in the spirit world if it wasn't through love. He loved what he was doing with the generators, and he loved the quality of making a small little generator where a woman can carry and be able to start up herself with one slide and one pull. That's the technology that he produced, and it's quiet and it runs and helps a lot of people. Just simple stuff like that. He created everything that he did in the best way he can with the amount of love he could for those to be able to create it. uh, to expound on it is what I'm trying to say, or something. But I think I explained that. But and then, yeah, go ahead, ask questions. I'm
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask you a question, but what I appreciate and what I enjoy is every person you're helping us interview and meet, they all have like a positive outlook, a spiritual outlook. They're giving us good lessons on how to have a perspective on things, and you really give us a different take. Like I never expected the Scorpion King to be that cool a dude. So anyway, I'm having fun. Back to Mr. Honda. So we mentioned that Subaru is off planet. Is he familiar with Arasaka Robotics?
Sanko Robotics.
Arasaka, Arasaka, Arasaka Robotics.
I haven't talked to Subaru, but Honda knows about it. I don't know if he knows about it. Well, see, that was after his he was in the war and trying to create things with certain type of things in the military. During that time period when he was alive, so he was starting to work with um, he was in competition with Subaru during that time period to produce quality things for the military, for the Japan's military. Um, but for some reason, I don't think he was in that time period of having the blueprints in front of him and creating those things. For some reason, I don't see the blueprints in front of him. Maybe his children. Maybe his children had. I think so. His children. One of his people that was beside him. One of his friends, children, whichever one, um, was pulling out those blueprints. The one I'm talking to. He wasn't in that. I don't think
Okay.
in the blueprint.
Did you say that Mr. Honda had an issue with Samsung?
Yeah, they were like the cheaper quality manufacturing of Japan. They are quality, just not efficient. Like a Yamaha, they just throw stuff out there, in comparison to Suzuki. He has respects for Suzuki and Subarus. There's another one too, maybe Mitsubishi, certain Mitsubishis. But yes, there's a couple Japan corporations he really aspired by, uh, um, respects. In comparison to Samsung, they're like a new age American corporation where they just produce. Well, more of it. Not he doesn't want to. bash America because America's got bashed enough by the scams. That's what he's
Yeah.
saying. So more like a Chinese corporation just to put out cheap stuff from Japan. Samsung's just that's the way he's showing it. I mean, Japan got high quality stuff anyway, so Samsung's even for the quality ship that Japan's Samsung puts out, it's still averagely better than China in
Yeah.
comparison. Yeah, if that makes sense. Yeah.
So the reason why I mentioned Samsung, I'm interested in off-planet life. I understand that Samsung operates off-planet, and they set up communication devices and satellites outside portals so that they can transmit signals instantaneously from solar system to solar system or even intergalactically. I don't suppose Mr. Honda knows about that, but that's why I mentioned the Samsung.
Okay.
All right. And there's someone
That's
else.
cool. That's cool.
I might as well mention because Mr. Han is into transportation. We're talking about off-planet transportation. There's another off-planet but not Japanese transportation magnate. His name is Theodore Marshall. He's a transportation magnate, and I mean, again, I don't expect Mr. Honda knows him, but there's a lot of stuff going on off-planet. I just thought I'd mention that because he was on my notes here, Mr. Theodore Marshall. John Whitberg talks about him, and it's in John Whitberg's books, The Man with Periwinkle Eyes, and the new volume is coming out this month. It's coming out like before the end of the year here.
It's actually releasing today.
There you go. There you go. Sweet. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So I don't, I mean, this has been so fun and informative and inspirational. I don't really have anything else, but I did want to give you a chance to do your showcase and bring in Jim Morrison.
Oh,
Bring in Jim. I definitely before you go
Yeah,
talk
sure.
to Jim, I definitely want Julie to. She's got to ask questions about who she is and all those stuff and what she's about
Oh,
because
yeah.
that's what Chloe told her. So I know, you know, we're gonna have to. She's got questions, I'm sure, but give us
I'll save mine for
Jim
the end. Let's
around.
take care of Julia.
did you want to ask me questions? Because
Well, there's Dad saying Jim Morrison first, then we'll go with Julia. With
okay.
you.
Yeah, let's hear from Jim.
Okay. Okay. Because let's see. Jim, what are you saying? He's just goofy. He said, "There's always a spotlight with you two." Talking to me and Dad. There's always a spotlight going on. But he's saying, what type of questions do y'all have? Because he had the experience of the government messing with him and his family, and it was very hard for him to take care of the innocents in his life after what he knows now. He's having to come back into the physical world again to hopefully, have a little extra love for the innocents than he did prior because I mean he did really well in loving the innocents in the best way he can with the abuse that he was taken, but he was messed with badly and
I don't know a lot about Jim Morrison. Was he actually an asset? Did he work for a government agency?
he was put on it. He was used. He was you almost say forced, but it's like he could have got out, but he's like family's in it, and how can you get out of family?
Yeah, he was used, but he would do his sly things on stage where he would say things. He's put out, he you know how it is. I mean, what can you do when you're controlled? But he still had his ways to give it to the man. And it's in his music, right? In his poems.
Yeah.
That's what cool. That's what cool. Because a lot of people do turn off and they go, Jim Morrison, he's an asset. I'm like, yeah, he was, and so are we. Every one of us are asset. Every one of us are being. We
But
all
do you
have our
think
tails.
he was
Someone's
in?
standing on our tail. Every one of us.
Do you think he was a super soldier back in the day? He was in those kind of programs.
Yes, he was in the spiritual super soldier program, not really the super soldier program of the physical world, as in like the man's ways, because there's two types. He really tried his best to work his spiritual connections. He talked linear. That's the difference between spirit and physical. Spirit will bring out linear information in comparison to the physical will only prevail what it is in front of it. They take the food in front of it, while the spirit will carry the food for years, if that makes sense.
Hey Ray, I think what you want to ask Jim is about the song "The End," where it talks about the blue bus, the blue bus. That's what you want to hear about.
That's what I want to ask. All right. Yeah. What's up with that blue bus?
Let's talk about the blue bus. See
So the dragon that's 7 miles long, 7 chakras.
Wow.
7 chakras up your spine, up to your top crown. It's the end, because it's the birth of you in this world to the end of you out of this world. That was his poem that he got when he was seven. I want to say 6, but that time period when he was turning 7 or hit 7 time period. And that's where he wrote that poem.
Wow.
It hit him one day in school, and one of his schools that his parents sent him to. And he got in trouble for it because he was writing poems.
Wow. So did you say that Jim Morrison has to return to Earth? Does he have to reincarnate to adjust some energies or something?
Yeah. He likes the new term now that he's learned of the physical and spirit with God and such. He's like he's just gonna reform his. He just created a spirit, right? His spirit is a form now, and he's looking at God saying, "Put me in any vessel that will work for the betterment of my soul." So that's the direction he's going. You can call it reincarnation and stuff like that, but it's still recreating of the physical form flowing while the spirit is flowing through it, right? That's what he's showing me. So, yeah, he's reincarnating supposedly. He doesn't know when. He just knows the right timing will come. He's having to relax more, because turmoil can mess with you for many years, and as long as you can get past the turmoil and get back in the physical and get your spirit to prevail again after being abused, if that makes sense, then his form will come back, right? You gotta give something God could work with, right? So you have to prevail with something in your spirit. Being abused, you may tend to hold. You may tend to lock your doors. You may tend to close your doors, and finish yourself, but you can always prevail. You just walk on through.
To the other side.
Break on through. That's what he's saying. Yeah, he was saying it in my head. I just couldn't quite hear the tune. You gotta break on through to the other side.
That was cool. Thanks a lot, Matt. Thanks, Jim Morrison. Thanks to all the people that you channeled. I know the interview's not over, but I'm really grateful for what you did,
amazing.
what you shared, and I want to stick around and see what else happens here with Julia.
All right.
Yeah.
It's been so good, guys. Thank you so much. It's been amazing. Yeah. What did you want to ask me questions, or have I got any other questions for you guys?
Yeah. Do you got any questions about?
Hey,
I think well, Chloe says that her reading told her to keep up with what she's doing, learning about who she's been, where she's been, what she's doing.
Yeah.
There's something that's relevant about all that that she's got to continue to work on. So I'm hoping that she's got some fishing to do.
Yeah, I think we're all just seeking. For me, crystals is a big part of it, of course. And I was watching something, and you guys also work with Andara crystals, and I love Andara crystals. Those glass-like crystals you got from Mount Shasta, right? I've got mine from Malaysia, or they come from near Bali. So, but I've got some as well, Andaras, and I love them. They're so powerful. So yeah, I don't know. I would like on our next one, I do want to get more into dragons, obviously. And you got the Andaras. Oh, they're so awesome.
We hang them up and they're in the light, and we just change them out and wear a different one. But these are all those crystals because that's what I ordered was
They
It's
are
just
so amazing. So I've got a blue, a green, I think I've got an orange and a clear one, and they're very powerful, very powerful. I usually wear them when I'm either if I'm going to be out in a big group of people, I wear them as an amulet, or I work with them if I'm going on a vision quest for like Atlantis or Lemuria, then I work with those ones. Yeah. So love them,
it's
love
worth
them.
it.
Yeah. No, I haven't got any other questions because I want to do a follow-up where we can talk more about copper and conscious living and things like that. That would be awesome. Yeah, that would be really good. And intentional living was the phrase that you guys use, intentional living. I really like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Amish living.
Yes.
Homemade Amish here.
Homemade Amish. So have you got any final words before we finish?
I'm just having fun.
Yeah, cool.
Let's see what the dad gets.
Laugh like a child.
Laugh like a child.
Live it
So,
up. Yeah,
no, I don't.
laugh like a child.
I don't have any other notes. I think you just did a great job. I thank you guys for bringing up the good points because we just, we can't normally get this deep into an interview because people won't go further than maybe Bigfoot. And we definitely don't ever get to talk about dragons or George or,
Mm.
the time he went and got the goo from CERN and took it up to the galactic. Right? We don't get to talk about all that stuff. So just I want to
Wow.
thank you guys for being open minded. Don't have no words to anybody. We don't know anybody except for a few people. So we just want to thank you guys for
Yeah.
being the people that help us, you know, open up and
Busting the giant through the veil,
There
Yeah.
we go. Yeah.
Matt was the one that released George the Giant. George was in captive. He broke his
Wow.
chains with the angel
Nice.
wings. You guys might know angel wings. But
Yeah.
yeah, she's the one that handed him the sword that he chopped the chains off of George and busted George out. But anyway,
Yeah, he was chained up. He was jailed in there because, geez, it was no. I was looked through his spiritual body that what his intentions were throughout behind him, his past, and I saw that everything he'd done was just to make it back home, and all they did is locked him up for that. And whether they recognized it or not, it was unjust for him being in a chain of any type. So I didn't even know what was behind me, but I knew I had to grab something. And I'm just going to grab it and I'm going to hit it with a ball of light or anything. I didn't care. My own fist might make my whole hand bloody. I don't even care. These chains are going to come off. And I looked behind me and there was a sword. And that must have come from Angel Wings. Old crazy Jamie. I love her. She kicking it. This was like in elementary school for me. And it was just a dream I had. And I grabbed it and I swung, busted all three chains, the two on the legs, two on on his arms, and one around his neck, all tied together to lock him down into the chair. And every now and then it gets electric pulses and such like that. That's the energetic energy I've understood from this giant, and that's why I busted off of him. And once I did that, he was able to stand up and take a step, and that's when I knew I can go back go back to sleep, which is waking up, which was a weird day for me that day. And I was confused for the rest of that day. Going to school, I didn't know what to think. But I did that one day.
That's incredible. That's so cool. Yeah, cool. Do you want to let everybody know how they can find you, how they can watch all your videos?
Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot. I got Logically Insane 17. So that's the two channels we
Yeah.
got on YouTube.
yeah, we just put out mostly natural stuff like how to grow herbs and that kind of stuff. So, we don't, thanks to Julie and Ray coming in and, we would kind of need prodding and we appreciate you guys prodding us because we don't.
Yeah.
We don't. I
I've
don't
been
think
trying
anybody.
to set you guys up for like 2 months.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, of course, we have rental properties, so we're really very busy, and we couldn't ever break away. We finally winter's come here and it's cooled off, so we finally got some time. So, I'm like, let's do this. And like I said, I come in with a clean slate. I'm like, we'll just roll in there and let's go any direction because we love just going with anything.
Yeah. Oh, it's been
Yeah.
amazing. Ray, do you want to share your podcast with everybody?
Yeah, thank you, Julia. All of you have been visiting my podcast. I appreciate it so much. It's Star Card Podcast on YouTube. Star Card, one word. My name's Breakaway Ray, and just want to thank Julia for organizing this. And it was so much fun meeting you guys. Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot. Been a big fan for a long time. This has been great. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Ray.
Thank you. Thank you both, Ray and Julia. Y'all are rock stars.
You're welcome. You're welcome.